Hey everybody, welcome. Welcome to live Q&A. Here we are. We've been showing up here every week for over 4 years. This is the global community for adult survivors of complex trauma, all form of childhood trauma in the form of abuse. So if that is you, if you're an adult now and you are possibly still dealing with some of the traumatizing after effects of childhood maltreatment, abuse and trauma that happened in childhood, perhaps your finances are struggling, you're struggling at work, your relationships with your children are struggling, with your spouse, with your neighbors, perhaps you're struggling to keep a job or to balance your budget, or perhaps your health is struggling, your physical health. Maybe there's something autoimmune related or heart disease or high blood pressure or cancer or type 2 diabetes or some sort of gastrointestinal issues in addition to everything else we just talked about. And you think that, wow, that might all be connected to childhood. And then you're in the right place. We show up here and we support one another every single Monday, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. And what we do is we connect the dots. We connect the dots and we show up in a way that is helpful to one another. And if you're in crisis, this is not a place to be. We have our amazing interns, Poppy, and Matt is also over there as well. And I think Shannon might be here as well. We're posting some crisis information for you if you happen to be in crisis. This is a place to receive trauma-informed peer support, but it's not a place to receive crisis. We have our friends at RAINN, RAINN.org. We have our friends at the crisistextline.org, suicidepreventionlifeline.org, and lots of other domestic violence organizations. If you're living with an eating disorder, if you're struggling with grief or addiction, if there's anything going on in your life and it may be connected to childhood trauma in the form of abuse, then you're in the right place and we want you to get the care that you deserve. So, buckle up. Let's have this discussion. Let's support one another in a way that is helpful and therapeutic and trauma informed. And then let's get the crisis care that we need if we happen to be in crisis. Okay? So I'm super excited that you're here. Special thank you to Willow, who sent in her question a little bit early. Special thank you to all of you guys who show up here early every single week. You guys are amazing. Hello to Hunter, who already sent in his question. Again, hello to Willow. Thank you so much to Poppy and to Matt and to Shannon who are moderating. And thank you to all of you who send in your questions every single week. I know last week we had some questions that came up. Oh, you know what? You guys, this was supposed to be a two-parter from last week. This is supposed to be part 2 tonight of... This is supposed to be part 2 of grieving, and I didn't answer everyone's questions. Oh my goodness. You guys, I totally screwed up. I dropped the ball. I'm just gonna cry. It's like welcome to live video, right? I threw my back out and I have just been completely not thinking straight. I'm sitting really weird and trying to get comfortable and can't quite get comfortable, and now I don't really know what to do because this is a topic that is super important, but I promised you guys that this was going to be week 2, a two-parter from last week. Oh. I don't really know what to do. I think what I'm going to do, this is what I'm going to do. Welcome to live video. For those of you who are new to this channel, it's not always like this. We've been doing this every week for 4 years, and we actually managed to show up here and make a video and have it not be awkward. But tonight it's awkward. Welcome to my awkward world. I'm going to follow through with the topic that I have posted right here on this video about addiction and maladaptive coping strategies. And then either tonight or tomorrow, I was going to be off tomorrow. I was going to take a day off tomorrow, but you know what? I'm not going to do that. I'm going to make a video tomorrow and I'm going to post the video tomorrow. And I'm going to answer everybody's questions from last week. as part 2. That's what I'm going to do. So please know, those of you who sent in questions last week that I did not answer, last week we had questions from I Still Found Hope and Vi. Oh no, that was a different. Desi Pink, Miss Beach Boxer, Heroes Don't Wear Capes, Hunter, Shannon, Vi, Molly Black and Blue, Willow, I will answer all of your guys' questions that I just mentioned in a video that I will put up on the channel either tonight or tomorrow. So please subscribe to this channel if I haven't scared you away and caused you to feel extremely awkward. I'm already going to know that this video is going to get a whole bunch of thumbs down. It's okay. It's fine. It's going to happen. This is me being human. So thumbs down this video if you feel like you need to. And those of you who find this video helpful, give it a thumbs up. I'm going to move forward. I'm going to answer the questions from tonight. I'm going to cover the topic for tonight. I'm going to do a screen share really quick. And that's what I'm going to do. Or I'm going to cry and then do all the other things that I just mentioned. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to do a screen share. I'm so physically uncomfortable. It's not even funny. I need to find a chiropractor and fast. I've never thrown out my back before. People talk about throwing out their back, and I never really knew what that meant. I know what it means now. It's just one of those days. I had meetings scheduled. Meetings didn't happen because of technology issues. I'm in physical pain. Things are happening. All right. This is me working through everything. This is my process. I'm going to do a screen share right now. Then I'm going to do my best to answer your questions. And I'll probably just come back tomorrow, totally fresh, and feel better. Yeah, I'm going to come back tomorrow and I'm going to feel better. I'm going to be fresh and feel better. That's what I'm probably going to do. I'm going to show you the screen share right now. This is probably as close to like an actual real-time meltdown than you guys will get to watch. Unless, of course, you're subscribed to my vlog channel. Then you'll get to see all the crazy. Can't hide your crazy on a vlog channel. Because by definition, it's a vlog. It's a video log of your life. You don't hide your crazy. You just show up. This is supposed to be an educational channel where everything just works out and I educate and I lead discussions. So here's a screen share for you all. Let me know if you can see this screen share. This is a wonderful message that was sent in from one of our community members. And 1 second here. Okay. All right. So this person writes in. It's a woman. She shall remain anonymous because I don't have permission to share her identity. So I'm just going to share with you her story because this is a very important conversation that we all need to be having as it pertains to our trauma recovery journey, okay? So she says, "Hi, Athena. I think I've had a light bulb moment. To fully heal, do I need to give up all of my unhealthy coping mechanisms? If so, I'm scared. These coping methods are a part of me. If I give them up, who do I become? My youngest child is 12 years old. He needs me to be mom. I work. I cannot stop. I pay the mortgage. I pay the internet. I pay TV license. I pay the water bill. I pay the council tax. I pay for mine and my children's phone bills. I need to be me, who I have become. I need to be me, who I have become, because I don't want to be my parents. I fear if I give up all that keeps me functioning at this level, such as smoking, drinking, mainly weekends, coffee, sleeping 10 hours plus, smoking marijuana, out of sight. For example, my children are in bed and my children are 12 and 17. If I give up me now to repair my pain, I give up on them. I don't want to fall completely apart yet. I'm still needed. Is this why I can't stay fully present? Feel free to use this as an example if you feel I've got a message to share. If not, I patiently wait for your reply. I know you are busy and a survivor too." So, yeah, here we go. This is a hard one, you guys. I'm not going to lie. This is a really hard one. But I want to preface it with, you know, everybody's healing journey is different. I don't know what I did to my back. Like, I was sweeping and vacuuming, like doing chores, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, pain. You know what I'm saying? Oh, okay. First of all, I just want to acknowledge how brave this person is to share this journey with us the way that she has, to share her truth with us the way that she has. And I want to just say that I've been there. Okay. I was a single mom. My son was 14. I didn't necessarily smoke or drink or smoke marijuana, but I had other maladaptive, unhealthy coping strategies. I had some eating disorder behaviors. I was a people pleaser. Like, I spent all my time that I wasn't being a mom sacrificing my own well-being so that I could be approved of by others. And in some ways, that is just as toxic and potentially lethal as smoking, drinking, drugging, whatever your unhealthy coping strategy of choice is, whether it's being up in everybody else's business, being a busybody, being on your phone 24/7, like only stepping away from the device to sleep and eat. And not even that, like you take your phone with you wherever you go. You're on your phone, staring at your phone while you're eating. Rarely are you fully present with yourself, fully present in your body, fully present with others. You take your phone with you to the bathroom. You're on the toilet. You're on your phone. You're never away from your device. Perhaps you shop compulsively. You buy things that you perhaps don't need. You have a closet full of clothes with the tags still on because it makes you feel really, really good to be able to push the button to receive the things, or to go shopping at the mall and to swipe and buy things, or to pay and get things. Perhaps you're a hoarder. Perhaps you have magazines and books and things stacked from the floor to the ceiling. Perhaps your cupboards are full from top to bottom, all the way out to the edge, to where when you open the cupboard, things almost come pouring out because you have things from, 1, 2, 3, 5, 10, 15 years ago, and you're saving it all because you compulsively need to save it all. These are things that are distractions. The only time they cross the line into perhaps something that is hindering our trauma recovery journey is if they distract us in such a way that causes us to not be fully present in our bodies, not fully present in the moment. We're numbing through these activities. We're stuffing. We're avoiding reality by being involved in these activities. This particular person shares that the way that she avoids, the way that she numbs, the way that she stuffs, the way that she copes and shows up so that she can be a mom is by drinking and smoking and drugging, and she's terrified to stop these things because she has a handle on them. And I want to say right now that every person's journey is different, and I have been this person. Okay. My son was 14 years old. I had some eating disorder behaviors. I had some people-pleasing behaviors. I was unable to be fully present in my body. I was unable to relax. The only time I was ever not worrying or people-pleasing is when I was sleeping. And even then, I wasn't sleeping very well. Sometimes I would sleep long, or sometimes I would struggle to sleep. And I want this person to know, because she's probably watching right now, I called the number in the back of a book because they had an inpatient treatment center for people. And I told them that I didn't have an addiction to drugs, but is that the only way I could be admitted in? Because I knew that I was just not okay. I was alarmed at my status of my mental health, and that I would need to make a reservation. My son was going to be graduating high school in like 3 years. And so if I saved up for 3 years, perhaps I could save up enough money to be able to go and be at that treatment center for 30 days, because it was inpatient and 30 days was the minimum. And it was something like $30,000 or $40,000 or something like that, US, which it's just, for a single mother, like that's like 2 years salary, right? That was like a year and a half to 2 years earnings. Like it was like 40,000, 50,000. I mean, it was a lot. It was a lot of money. So I simply kept it together the best I could until my son graduated high school. And then I just took the best care of myself as I possibly could. And I was thrown into my trauma recovery journey. I didn't have the money saved to go stay at this inpatient place. I was actively in group therapy, actively in trauma recovery, in trauma therapy. I had taken a little bit of a break because I got married right after my son left, and I was just working on something. I was newly married. I had switched jobs. I had gotten like a promotion or whatever. And then I had left that job and started my own business. And you guys, the short answer to this question is yes, but it's not just a yes, period. It's a yes, comma, but, ellipsis. And what I mean by that is, yes, in order for you to truly heal and become all you're going to be, you will likely someday need to get to a place where you can be fully present in your body, fully present in the moment, no distractions, no numbing elements, no stuffing and denying and avoiding our feelings. We sit with it all. We grieve it all. We feel it all. And then we really, really, really heal. However, if that is at the expense of your children's well-being, then you do what you feel is right. You do what you feel is right. For me, in those moments, I knew having some eating disorder behaviors, and I knew that being in people pleaser mode, I was in contact with my family of origin. I was still trying to get them to like me, get them to love me, get them to stop treating me badly. It was a painful, painful, painful time in my life. Very confusing. And I was rarely fully present unless my son was right in front of me. My son was my anti-drug. I was never more fully present than when I was with him. If he was awake, I was fully engaged. I was listening. I was actively pursuing a relationship with him, asking him questions. How was school? Are there any new kids at school? Who did you eat lunch with? What was your favorite class today? Did you go to practice? How was practice? Did you swim well? What was your time? When's your next meet? Do you have any fundraisers coming up? What's going on in youth group? Do you need a ride? What are you guys going to be doing this weekend? Do you need a ride? Do you guys have a ride to wherever you're going? Where are you guys meeting up? Are you going to the movies? Where are you going? You guys going to the beach? Whose house are you going to go to? Are you staying the night anywhere? So my son was the priority. And I'm going to tell you, this person that wrote me this letter, the fact that you're making your children the priority, you win. You've already won, in my opinion. In a perfect world, would it be great if you didn't smoke, drink, drug, and people please, or whatever it is that is your coping strategy of choice? In a perfect world, you would be fully present all the time, feeling all of your feelings, crying, grieving what you never had, grieving what you wish was different, making healthy choices moving forward. But when we are entrusted with another human soul, and the way we are finding to keep it together is by going for a smoke break or having some drinks with our friends on the weekends or doing whatever it is that you're doing when your kids are asleep. If it's not affecting your kids and you're not abusing your kids and you're not neglecting your kids, you're fully engaged with your kids, you're listening, you know the names of their friends, you know what classes they're taking in school, what their favorite subject is, what's their favorite food, what's their favorite color. Do they have a favorite pair of pants? Do they have certain smells that they like? If you know everything about your kids and you're fully engaged with your children and they trust you and they know you love them and they feel safe with you, they feel loved by you unconditionally, apart from their performance, you have won. You win the parent lottery. You get the gold star. You get the blue ribbon. You get the trophy. That's my 2 cents. That's what I believe. There are going to be some people that want to show me some hate. You're advocating people to be drinking and becoming alcoholics and drug addicts and partying, and you're advocating for this and blah, 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 and whatever. Like, you call yourself trauma recovery. You know, I can already hear all the voices in my head. I can read the hate comments in my head right now. And I will block all of you and I will delete all of you, because you know what? Unless you have walked 5 or 10 miles in this woman's shoes, the one that sent in this letter, this raw, real letter about real life and real children and real bills and real struggles, then you don't get to have a say. You don't get to have a say. That's all I have to say about that. So, thanks for listening to me pontificate up on my soapbox. Vi says, Athena, in my experience, giving up unhealthy things that caused me to escape was not giving up on me, but made me a better me. I would totally agree with you, Vi. Absolutely, I agree with you. I'm not advocating for people to be drug addicts and alcoholics. That's not what I'm doing at all. This woman who wrote this letter, trust me, let me just say this really quick, okay? Let me just say this really quick. I appreciate Vi's point of view, because Vi has been working really hard on her recovery. She has been sober for 20-something years. She's attended 5 funerals, all drug and alcohol related funerals or suicide related funerals. And she has busted her ass, raised in an unhealthy home by drug addicts and alcoholics. And so I want to be real clear that I'm not advocating for people to be drug addicts and alcoholics raising their babies. I'll tell you what I am advocating for. I'm advocating for doing whatever it is that you need to do to be a good parent. And for me, when I was a mom, Vi, I wanted to be the opposite of my drug addict, alcoholic parents. And I didn't drink and drug. I had other things that I struggled with. I had eating disorder behaviors. I had worrying. I had obsessive people pleasing. Sacrifice myself on the altar of everyone else's approval at the expense of my own sanity. That was more devastating than maybe any drug could ever be. And so if this person writing in right now is telling me that in order to feel like she can live and survive and cope, she needs to do the things that she's doing while her children are asleep, then I'm going to tell her that she's the only one that can make that choice. In a perfect world, I would say to this person who wrote in order for you to fully heal from your trauma, you are going to have to cut out the numbing, the stuffing, the avoiding, anything that causes you to not be fully present. You're going to have to cut it out. The deal breaker here for me, Vi, and for all of you, is that she's got children, and those children deserve a future. And the only way for her to figure out if she can quit smoking, drinking, drugging, whatever it is that she's doing, she feels that she's not going to be able to get healthy while still parenting, not having any coping strategies. She hasn't learned any coping strategies. So while I agree with what Vi is saying here, I also know that in the real world where you have a child in front of you and you just are barely trying to figure out how to be a parent because no one showed you how, and you're just doing the very best you can. If you're making them the priority, you win. You get the gold star, you win, period. If she didn't have children that she was trying to pour all of her energy into and take care of, I'd be like, well, figure it out. Like, you either want to heal from your trauma or you don't. You're going to need to find a way to titrate this coping strategies you have going on and tapering your way off out of these things so that you can find a way to be fully present and not numb stuff or avoid. And you need to do it fast if that's what if your focus is going to be healing from your trauma. That's what I would say. But she has children that she's concerned about. So I hope I've been clear. I agree with Vi, but I also understand where this woman's coming from. I know what it's like to have a child in front of me and just desperately want to do the right thing. So if the only way this woman feels that she can do the right thing is by having some coping strategies, and let's all just be real right now. The reason she's sending this letter is because she has a feeling. She started it off by saying she had a light bulb moment. So here we are. We're having light bulb moments, right? Let's pretend this is a big whiteboard. We're having a light bulb moment here. Starting off with, do I have to get rid of these coping strategies? And then it ends with, is this why I'm not able to be fully present? She knows. This woman knows. This woman knows that she needs to stop these coping strategies in order to be fully present so she can raise her kids. Like, she knows that. I know that. You know that. It's the elephant in the room right now. However, it's not going to ever be my job to tell somebody how to raise their kids. It's not ever going to be my job to tell somebody that they have to stop smoking cigarettes, drinking alcohol, and engaging in any type of unhealthy coping strategies so that because that's what's going to help them heal from their trauma and then raise her children. And the reason why I am so adamant about having this woman make her choice and not have me make the choice for her is because I intuitively knew that I wasn't going to be able to heal the deep trauma that I was healing. I wasn't going to be able to truly heal that deep, deep, deep trauma that I had just barely broken the crust. Like, the edges were just barely starting to crack. I was trying to make an appointment for a mental health inpatient facility 3 years down the road. Because I knew that if I fell apart, who the hell was going to raise my kid? And I don't regret it. I don't regret one thing that I did. Because you want to know something? You want to know, like, real talk? I bail. I leave. I go to an inpatient facility. And I leave my son in the care of who? His dad was busy, didn't want him. Otherwise detained, doing other things. I have no siblings, no family, no help, no support. Who takes care of my kid? Boo. Then what happens? Does he drop out of school? Does he go get a job? Does he end up in the system? Does he end up a ward of the state? Does he end up on drugs because he can't cope with the fact that his mother doesn't want him and she lost her mind and went crazy in an inpatient facility when he was a teenager? What happens then? Does he end up dealing drugs? Does he get involved in weapons? Does he end up committing suicide? What happens to my kid? Because I decided I need to heal my trauma at some inpatient facility and leave him in the care of somebody else. Well, I'll tell you something right now. I'm glad I didn't do that. Because my son went into the military. He was in there for 5 years. He excelled. He won all these awards. He got his degree in Mandarin. He was a linguist in the military. He did signals intelligence. He exited and left his active duty status as a sergeant He's now using his GI Bill, studying neuroscience, and he's going pre-med to go to medical school. Why? Because I freaking stayed. I sucked it up, Buttercup, and swallowed every ounce of the pain that I was in, decided not to go to an inpatient facility and leave him in the care of somebody who didn't want him. And I focused every minute of every day on making sure that I was a good mom. So whatever this person writing in needs to do to make sure that she does that she's a good mom every day, all day, unwavering, then you do that. That's what you do, because then you have no regrets. The last thing you want to do is regret that you smoked or drank or smoked pot while your kids were sleeping. They found out, they started getting involved in drugs and alcohol. Then they end up down that path. And then you're like, wow, I should have stopped those things. If you feel that those are the things that you need to do in order to cope, then you need to make that decision. But remember, over here on my imaginary whiteboard, you said, do I have to stop these unhealthy coping strategies? Is this why I'm not able to be fully present? So the answer is yes, this is why you're not able to be fully present. It's because of the smoking, drinking, marijuana, etc. And by the way, sleeping 10 plus hours, there's nothing wrong with that. That's called self-care, where I come from. Okay? Self-care. And coffee, like, depending on what article you read, coffee's good for you. Now, if you're drinking 10 cups a day, that might be a lot. But everything in moderation, right? If marijuana is illegal where you live, I wouldn't advocate that you do illegal drugs. Do your best to get healthy from all of these coping strategies that you intuitively, as per your light bulb moment, know are the reason that, as per your line down at the bottom, why you can't be fully present. Find a way to be the best mother you can be to those kids. You will never regret being an amazing mom. Ever. You will never, ever, ever regret that. Ever. Because if I would have left and went to that inpatient facility because I intuitively knew that I was going to lose my shit, again, what would have happened to my son? I can't even think about it without crying, you guys. Like, what would have happened to him? You know? What would have happened? Who would take care of him? My family? Like, let's just get freaking real for a second, right? Like, that would not have happened. You can't place a child willfully in the hands of a family that is toxic, abusive, ridiculous, twisted, selfish. You can't do that. And his dad was not involved. It was me and me alone. So I don't regret anything. I did end up losing my shit. I did. I ended up losing it when he deployed in the military. That was hard. That was really hard. Because I immediately could picture like that, what's going to happen? Like, what if he doesn't come home? Like, what if he gets killed or something? Like, we're at war. Like, we're still in Iraq. I mean, at the point we hadn't pulled out of Iraq yet. I mean, I was just, and it was irrational fear perhaps because his MOS or military operations specialty were not those that would be boots on the ground in the line of fire, but he was on ships off the coast of China in signals intelligence, you know, receiving messages, scrambling messages, doing top secret security clearance, crazy things that, I mean, he was just a teenager, you guys, you know, just a young boy. So, the short answer is find a way to be fully present with your kids. And then when you've done what you need to do to make sure that they're okay, your youngest is 12, as per your letter. Slowly but surely become trauma informed. Start to understand trauma and the way it manifests itself in your life. Trim back the things in your life that are causing you to numb, that are enabling you to stuff, and that are helping you avoid. It will help you be a better mom. And then when your kids graduate high school and they're out of the house, you can focus all your energy on you and being fully present for you. But for right now, those babies are your priority. And nobody else is going to raise them the way you're going to raise them. Nobody else is going to love them the way you're going to love them. So kind of a hard message tonight, you guys, right? Willow says, I have an eating disorder. I'm 30 years old. I am 172 centimeters tall and 110 pounds, which is 50 kilograms. I don't know how tall is 172 centimeters. Let me see. Siri, how many feet is 172 centimeters?
It's 5.64 feet.
Okay. So you're 5'6" and a half, and you weigh 110 pounds. So that's, depending on your bone structure, that's rather thin, Willow. She goes on to say, I'm still absolutely not willing to give up my eating disorder. I'm honest about it, though, especially with anyone involved in my recovery. I'm also honest about how I will continue to protect my eating disorder and how it is mine and that no one can take it away. I won't let them. I sound like a child, right? I go from age 30 to age 7 in a couple of paragraphs. By the way, 7 years old is when the eating disorder started. To resolve this, would I need to do inner child work? The answer is yes. I do not recommend doing inner child work by yourself. I only recommend you doing inner child work with a trauma therapist who is very, very, very skilled, very trauma informed and skilled in trauma modalities such as somatic experiencing, as per Peter Levine, body work, Bessel van der Kolk, EMDR, Laurel Parnell, Francine Shapiro, Michelle Rosenthal. Lots of grief work will have to happen as well, Willow. You'll have to go back and look at your timeline. Remember, we talked last week about this book, the Grief Recovery Handbook. It helps you do a timeline of all of the things in your life that were ever traumatizing, ever, ever, ever. And then we grieve every single one of them. And anything that's happening present day, we link it to something that happened in the past and what it reminds us of. It sounds like you've already acknowledged what's going on in your recovery journey. And that's healthy and that's good. I have a client who's in a similar situation to you, and she is about 5'6", and she probably does weigh about 110 to 120. And I work with her every day, Willow. Willow, it might be something to where you have daily check-ins regarding your meals so that you're not restricting calories to the point of making yourself sick. Or if you're binging and purging, being held accountable to your binging and purging. Not in a way that anyone wants to take your eating disorder away from you, but someone like a coach that's trauma-informed come alongside you and say, I realize you're not willing to let go of this eating disorder. It's yours and you're going to protect it. However, you need help managing that because your eating disorder lies to you and tries to make bargains with you and tries to make you feel like it has your best interest in mind, and it doesn't. Your eating disorder will kill you in the midst of trying to protect you from harm that you were in when you were younger, probably close to 7. Definitely between 7 and 13. There had to be a lot going on during that point in your life for an eating disorder to take root and stay for as long as it stayed, 23 years. There had to be some severe trauma. So find someone who can hold you accountable. I work with this particular client every day. We check in every day for 15 minutes. And then we meet for longer appointments once a week. And it's helping. It's really helping. The binging and purging has cut back by about 80%, 70%. And the restricting wasn't really the big issue to begin with, but I think that we've made some progress there. The thing is this particular client just doesn't want to be, 40, 50, 60 years old and still feeling 7 years old. So I'm helping her with that. And it's a privilege. So just some food for thought. Pardon the pun intended, food for thought. Let me know if that's helpful. Hunter says, hello, Athena. Hello, Hunter. How to overcome the urge to punish your body that fuels the unhealthy coping strategies. That's hard. I think the best way, Hunter, is for you to, as often as you possibly can, ask yourself in the moment, acknowledge in the moment, I feel the urge to punish myself. I may be in a place of self-loathing right now, which means something's going on that reminds me of a previous time. What does this remind me of? What does this remind me of? And so in those moments when you have the urge to self-harm or come from a place of condemnation, you're condemning yourself, self-hatred, self-loathing, chances are you're stuck in a very small place, probably, I want to say age 11 to 14. So some things that may have happened to you from ages 11 to 14, maybe even like 11 to 16, I would journal about that and find a way to relate whatever you can do to find some compassion, perhaps imagining someone else and how you would show compassion toward them, and do your best to apply that to yourself, even in just small moments when you're alone. A little will go a long way when we're talking about self-compassion, because it's cumulative. It's a snowball effect. If we can find a way to show ourselves compassion in small ways, then we can find ways to show self-compassion in bigger ways. They build on top of one another. And so it's natural for us to want to punish our body because our body is in charge of the unhealthy coping strategies. It's all our fault. It's all our fault. But if we remember that that is an inner critic, it's an overactive inner critic, whose voice is that? I would start there, Hunter. Ask yourself, whose voice is telling me that it's my body that is fueling the unhealthy coping strategies? Whose voice is that? That's telling me that? Is it my voice? Doesn't sound like my voice. Maybe it is my voice. Maybe it's someone else's voice. I would identify the voice. I would try to show some compassion to that, however young you were at the time. Even if it's a friend of yours' little brother, you can find somebody that is sort of like that age that you were, and try to find a way to feel compassion toward that person, and maybe write about that. I know that you play video games. I don't know if anyone that you play video games with is younger. Perhaps just even relating to someone who's younger and just seeing how small and innocent and sweet and kind and small and young they are. And just that they're not capable of masterminding unhealthy coping strategies for the sake of destroying yourself. Like, they're not capable of masterminding this whole thing. It's definitely the job of an overactive inner critic who's older. And keeping that in context and sort of maybe journaling about that, I think that will help, Hunter. Let me know how you feel about that. Ashton Smith says, can PNES be a maladaptive coping strategy? Psychogenic non-epileptic seizures. And I don't think that that is a maladaptive coping strategy, Ashton Smith. From my understanding, the limited understanding that I have about PNES is that they are involuntary. Can you clarify for me? If these non-epileptic seizures are involuntary, then they are not a maladaptive coping strategy. If there is some sort of seizure that you are inducing in yourself as a means of distraction, like if you know, if I do A, B, C, and X, Y, and Z, I will trigger a seizure and therefore I won't have to deal with my pain, then we can talk about that. We can definitely talk about that. But from what I understand, PNES is, I believe what you're describing is involuntary. Anything that's involuntary cannot be considered. I don't believe it can be considered a maladaptive coping strategy unless we purposefully don't address it because we don't want to deal with our trauma. Example, let's say I know I have OCD and I know that my OCD causes me to not be present in my body because I will be so distracted by what's going on over here that I won't have time to deal with my trauma. I know that I could address my OCD if I wanted to, and I could probably heal aspects of my OCD, but I don't really want to because then I would be forced to focus on my trauma. So do you see what I did there? Like, I think we would need more information about the seizures if they're involuntary. And if you know you could seek help for them, but you don't want to seek help for them because they're kind of a part of your life now. And if you dealt with them, it would be kind of like getting rid of your security blanket. And then therefore you would have to deal with your trauma. And that would be hard. So maybe just fill me in a little bit in the comments section. You know, I'll try to go back and re-watch this video. The only time I ever re-watch myself, which by the way, gag me with a spoon, like puke. Like, I don't want to watch myself or listen to myself talk. So what I do is I mute the video so I don't have to hear my own voice. And then I fast forward it every like 5 minutes to like read all the comments so that I could try to like, you know, answer questions in a better way the following. I always want to improve. So, but yeah, I don't like hearing my own voice. Anyway, I hope that was helpful. Ashton, please let me know. Miss Beachboxer says, off topic, am I the only one completely triggered by coping with the Kavanaugh thing, attacking victims? Question mark. I am not familiar with what's going on. I'm so sorry, Miss Beachboxer, but I'm willing to bet you're not the only person. I am willing to bet money I don't have that you're not the only person. Because if something's going on in the news, there's a lot of people that are affected by it, for sure, for real. In fact, like we had some stuff going on in the news probably about 3, 4, 5 months ago. And one of our community members was really active in the Duran Duran community. And one of the members of Duran Duran had been called out for sexually assaulting some people. And it was devastating. And like there's this huge global Duran Duran community. And so this was something that was like very, 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 very triggering for our community member because she was so involved in the Duran Duran community. So if you are feeling triggered, Miss Beachboxer, just by what's going on with, I hope I'm saying it right. Is it Kavanaugh? It looks like Kavanaugh, but I'm not 100%. Maybe it's something else. But I'm sure that you're not the only person. But there's a video on this channel. And it's titled Coping with Triggering News Stories. And it might be helpful for you, Miss Beachboxer. I think it might help. Seriously, I think it might help. So here on this YouTube channel, try to look for the video that it talks about coping with triggering news stories. And I think the color of the thumbnail, like the writing on the color of the thumbnail is like purple or like really bright blue, if I'm not mistaken. I think. I hope. Thank you all for being so loving and kind when I was losing my shit and melting down. You guys are so sweet. Thank you. John Harvey says, can unhealthy coping mechanisms be healthy for some while being hurtful to others? Ooh, very thought-provoking question, John Harvey. Let's talk about this. So if we're talking about unhealthy coping strategies, I would say we're talking about unhealthy across the board, as we would likely be able to agree upon. My gut response would be maybe, probably, because not everything's black and white. There's a lot of gray, right? The scary middle, the gray, that's where all the magic happens. But the unhealthy coping mechanisms that we're talking about here tonight specifically were alcohol, nicotine, marijuana, caffeine, sleeping 10 plus hours, and there was one more, and I can't remember what it was. Let's pull it up just so we can address it intelligently. Let's see, let me know if y'all can see this. Smoking, drinking, mainly on weekends, coffee, sleeping 10 plus hours, and smoking marijuana, out of sight while they're in bed, out of sight of my children. My children are 12 and 17. So there. I would say yes and no, John Harvey. And the reason I say that is, depending on what article you read online, coffee is healthy for some people. If your doctor says that coffee is not healthy for you, then what is okay for someone is not healthy for you. If your doctor says that it is not a good idea for you to have even the slightest bit of fruit because you're living with type 2 diabetes and fruit triggers an insulin imbalance for you, then fruit could be something very, very, very healthy for someone, but not healthy for you. If you have a medical marijuana card and you're smoking cannabis, or you're taking CBD oil or CBD gel for PTSD or for whatever it is that you're doing, maybe it's for cancer, then that would be prescribed by a doctor or okayed by a doctor for you, but not necessarily healthy for someone like myself or like Vi, who comes from a family where people were drug addicts and alcoholics, and that's just not something that we want to be doing. So my quick answer, John Harvey, is yes. I think that it depends, honestly. 10 plus hours of sleeping is in certain circles, that's called self-care. That's not doing anything bad. But it took me 40 years to realize that sleeping 10 plus hours isn't something bad, because I was raised in an environment where people bragged about only getting 5 hours sleep and accomplishing more than everyone else. A daily conversation going on in my house where I grew up from abusive people was how little they slept and how they outperformed everyone they knew. And so me, if I was sleeping more than 5 hours and not getting all the things done that those abusive family members were doing, then I felt like a piece of shit. I felt like something was wrong with me. So it's taken me, I'm going to be 45 years old, and I am perfectly okay if I sleep 10 hours. If my body needs it, I give it to my body when it comes to sleep. Now, if my body all of a sudden decided it needed alcohol or marijuana or nicotine, I probably would not be like saying yes to those things, because I happen to know that nicotine will cause a lot of harmful things to happen in my body, because I watched my father die on life support in a hospital. I watched his sister, his favorite sister, die a very slow and painful death, suctioning out her own lungs with tracheotomy and phlegm and blood, and just needing adult diapers and crazy things, all because of nicotine. I saw what drugs and alcohol did to my upbringing and how I was unsafe, and I was always at drug houses, or my mother was always doing lines of Coke or doing fingernails full of Coke while I would run the groceries in the house from the grocery store, as she was wasted driving me around in a car, getting in car accidents, leaving me places where I got bit by someone's hamster one time and I was bleeding everywhere. And then I got the shit beat out of me because I bled on their floor. Some drug house, who knows? And then I got in massive trouble because I told her breath smelled bad, because when you do drugs, your breath smells bad. And so I remember just saying, why does your breath smell like that? And like, that was the same, I believe it was the same time I bled on their floor. So anyway, yeah, I would not advocate for drinking, smoking, nicotine, or perhaps, like, I don't think that marijuana is the way for me to go. But I know a lot of my clients take CBD oil, CBD gel. They have medical marijuana cards. My cousin, both of my cousins that I actually still speak with, they're both adopted. They both have medical marijuana cards, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, or one of them does the CBD oil and the other one has the medical marijuana card. And she goes to the dispensary and she, and it helps her with her panic attacks. Both of them, it helps them with their panic attacks. It helps them sleep at night. And that's something that they're okay. Guess what? Neither one of them are raising kids. Neither one of them are responsible for another human. Okay? So you do what's right for you to make sure that you are fully present for that human, because that little human that you've been entrusted to, they've been entrusted to you. They deserve a parent that is fully engaged. They deserve a parent that is fully present, who knows who they are. What are their likes? What are their dislikes? What are their favorite stories, their favorite smells, their favorite flavors? What's their favorite ice cream? Who are their friends? Who's their favorite teacher? What's their favorite subject in school? Like, I could go on and on and on and on and on. You need to be fully, fully, fully engaged with your kids. They deserve that of you. If they've been entrusted to you, you figure out a way to do that. Apart from the parenting aspect, you figure out what's best for you. You figure out what it is that you like and what it is you're okay with. Veronica says, I smoke cannabis. I notice that it helps me feel less resistant to life. It brings healing insights, but it's also a way to hide from life. How will I know when I need to move on or stop? Well, Veronica, I am a firm believer in trusting your gut. This solid piece of advice that everybody gets on this channel over and over and over and over and over again is, no matter what I say and no matter what anybody says, trust your gut. If it's in direct conflict with anything I say or what anybody else says, you trust your gut. You're going to know in your gut, like, okay, this is helping me, but is it also hindering me? And does the good outweigh the bad? If you're finding yourself hiding from life, then I would try to titrate that and sort of slowly get into a place where you're not hiding from life as much and you're having more healing insights, and perhaps you can find different ways to feel better, and perhaps you can find other ways that are adaptive that can help you feel less resistant to life, ways that don't cause you to hide from life. So that would be something we could explore, Veronica. Like, let's talk about that. What are some ways we here on this channel can embrace life, feel less resistant to life and relationships and health and healthy habits and healing, while at the same time not hiding from life? In what ways can we relax and get into a place of peace and safety and being fully present so that we're open to what's going on in our lives, but not sliding down into a place where we're kind of hiding from life and hiding behind this whole I'm in recovery thing and I'm just here and I'm going to live here from now on because it's safer. Veronica, I find myself challenging myself in this area as well. Why? Because I don't smoke cannabis. I don't have anything but a B12 vitamin and over-the-counter Kirkland from Costco, those little sleep aid, they're like 25 milligrams or whatever to help me fall asleep. Nothing. Nothing else. Only spinach and almond milk and orange juice and fruit and vegetables and sometimes Taco Bell because balance. Sometimes nachos. Sometimes pizza. But for the most part, salads, whole foods, right? But Veronica, I volunteer my time in this community almost sometimes volunteering my time in this community and building what it is that I'm building in this community, a place for people to come. Sometimes, using your words, sometimes that helps me feel less resistant to life and it brings healing insights for me. However, it is also me volunteering my time in this community is also a way that I can hide from life. So I know that it's not time for me to move on or stop showing up in this community. I just need to weave in moments and days and times of me being fully present in my body, focusing on no one but me, just me, not everybody else, right? So, but I think I'm going to know, I trust myself. I trust my gut. I'm learning how to trust myself through congruence and showing up in the world in a way that is in integrity with myself, through a lot of prayer, a lot of support from my husband, a lot of accountability. Yeah, I hope that was helpful. And Vi, I know we talked about this about 40 minutes ago when you said, in my experience, giving up unhealthy things that caused me to escape was not giving up on me, but it made me a better me. I totally agree. As I said earlier, I do totally agree. This person needs to find a way to be fully present with her kids. She needs to find that balance. But the kids are the priority. I'm not the priority. Not when I was raising my son. He's the priority, 100%. So, okay, sorry. Yeah. So again, I'm not ever advocating for people to go pick up coping strategies that are, illegal or unhealthy or whatever. But I think no matter what we do, as long as we're making our children the top priority, finding a way to be fully present with them, whatever that looks like for you, you win. You win the parent lottery. You get the gold star, you get the blue ribbon, you get the trophy. That's the priority. Those children have been entrusted to us. Whatever we need to do to be fully present with them and make sure that they are loved unconditionally and they feel safe with us and they have everything they need to succeed in life right where they're at the age that they are, and launch into adulthood and become amazing adults, that's the priority. For me, that meant putting my recovery on the back burner. For me, that meant putting my recovery on the back burner for a good 3 or 4 years from the time I needed it to happen. The gal that wrote in, it might be her putting her recovery somewhat on the back burner for 5 years until her daughter and her son are both out of the house, off to college, or I think she's in the UK, so off to university. They go to uni. That's how they say it. I'm off to uni. So, and please forgive me if I'm butchering all of the different names and things and sayings and quips. Forgive me if I ever butcher them. If it's from a cultural perspective, it's not my intention. So, today was an off day for me, you all. Either later on tonight or tomorrow, I will go back and answer all the questions from last week that I did not answer. So please give this video a thumbs up if it was helpful for you at all. We have to outweigh the thumbs downers because they're going to come in droves when they see me lose my shit and stutter and have long bouts of silence. It's just going to happen. It happens every time. Every time I'm human, that happens. So then again, maybe they'll just want to prove me wrong and not give the video any thumbs down, but I bet you anything there's going to be some thumbs downs. I bet you anything. That's just what's going to happen, but whatever's. You know what? It was just a human thing. I'm in a lot of pain when I move, but I'm not moving right now. So I'm not in a lot of pain. I feel really good. But if I try to like, do anything, it's not good. Yeah. And just, things, life stuff, technology, things, I don't know, but thanks for letting me be human and melt down and cry and lose my shit on live video. I'm sure somewhere this is like therapeutic in some way, like I'm pretty sure that that's the case. So remember, if there is another human that's entrusted to you, they are the priority. That's the takeaway message of tonight's video. Whatever you need to do to make sure that your child feels safe, valued, important, unconditionally loved by you, regardless of their performance. They can come to you for anything. They can ask you anything. They can melt down. They can anything. And you're there for them. Then you've done your job. And that's very, very, very important. That's so important. That's the priority. It is important to be cognizant of your unhealthy coping strategies and to taper those or titrate those with healthy habits. But your kids are the priority, way ahead of you. If you believe it's going to make you a better parent to stop drinking alcohol, to stop smoking marijuana, to drink less coffee, to sleep less, or whatever else that you have going on, if it's an eating disorder, if you're a people pleaser like me, where you spent 24/7, 365 worrying to the point where you made yourself totally sick. Like, it was sick. I was sick. I was so sick. But I had to stop all of that and just make sure that I was fully present for my son. And I did put my mental health on the back burner. I had to. And I'm not sorry. He turned out amazing because he knew he had me. He knew I was there. He knew I was there fully, 100%. He could come to me with anything. I was a safe person for him. He could come in at 9, 10 o'clock at night and be like, so mom, like this girl, and like, I think she likes me. Like, I don't know if she likes me, but like, and I mean, like I wasn't that parent that was like, okay, whatever, like go tell your friends. Like, I would sit up and I would, wake up and I would be like, okay, well, tell me about it. Like, what do we think of this girl? Like, what's she like? Are you sure she doesn't like you? I mean, like, just not that I wanted to be my son's best friend, but he came to me. He wanted me to hear these things. He needed someone to talk to, or he was feeling afraid of like what people were thinking, or he was struggling with some things, or he struggled with a bully at school. He was struggling with feelings of suicide at some point. He came to me. I was there. If I was off in some inpatient program, taking care of my own self, I would not have been there. And he might be dead. He might have killed himself. I'll never know. Thank God. So do what you can to be the best parent you can. That's the priority. And then when you've raised your kids, and this is just talking about single parenting, by the way. If you are married, let me back up. Delete this whole video. No, but let's back up. If you have a spouse that's a fully engaged spouse, who's a healthy spouse and not an abusive spouse, and they can cover you and they can have your back while you go to inpatient, if you need to go to inpatient, or you go to counseling, or you go to therapy, you go to group, you do whatever it is you need to do to get healthy, while that healthy parent is fully present for that child, and they're going to be fully present for that child, that is something that's amazing. That's okay. I didn't have that luxury. I was a single mom. I had no one. No family, no help, no support, no frickin' nothing. Okay? Nothing. Nobody that I could trust. So that's what I'm saying. If you have a healthy spouse, I have no idea what that would have looked like when I had my son. I don't even have a frame of reference of what that would have even looked like. But if you have it, you know what it looks like. Then yes, take care of yourself and cut back on the nicotine and the alcohol and the marijuana and the sleep and the coffee. But if you're a single parent, you do what you got to do to be fully present for your kids, period. I think I've beat that dead horse enough, and I've ran over time, of course. So, lots of love to you guys. Please be kind to yourself. Did I lose everybody? Oh, I didn't lose everybody. That's amazing. You guys are rock stars. I can't even believe you stuck around for this video. Thanks for subscribing to this channel. Thank you for clicking the bell notification so that you know when I upload the video answering all your questions from last week that I didn't answer, and I'm so sorry. Please give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, if it was helpful, if you think it might have been helpful. Maybe you can come back and thumbs down it later if you want. But if you're feeling like you want to give it a thumbs up, I would be super grateful. And if you want to have discussions like this, but less awkward every day of the week, then you can go to cptsdfoundation.org and click on daily calls, because I lead discussions like this in a less awkward way every day, 365 days a year. And people are healing, and it's amazing, and it's awesome. And I would love more than anything for you all to be there. So, yeah, I'll record you guys a video tonight or tomorrow, probably. Thanks, everybody. You're amazing. Be kind to yourselves tonight. And I'll see you right back here next Monday, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, just like every Monday for over 4 years. Okay, bye.